Well, what a game tonight. The Trailblazers come all the way back, trailing by 17 at the end of three quarters to defeat the Memphis Grizzlies in overtime, 107-100. And I did not see this one coming because the Trailblazers, for most of the game tonight, were lifeless. The energy wasn't there. We didn't see the defense. They were sloppy with a number of turnovers. They finished the night with 23 turnovers, but they tightened it up in the fourth quarter and in overtime. And the execution down the stretch was terrific. We'll hear from Jabari Walker in just a moment. He credited Malcolm Brogdon, for the encouragement. He kept telling the guys, hey, you're playing hard. Just execute and stay with it. You got a chance to come back and win this game. And that's exactly what happened. Anthony Simons was the Trailblazers' meal ticket tonight. He scored 30, 16 of those coming in the fourth quarter. But it was really a combination of everybody else stepping up once again, just like we saw last night. Multiple guys stepping up to make game-winning contributions, and the Trailblazers get the victory. Jabari Walker was an animal. He had 19 points, 10 rebounds last night, 18 points, 12 rebounds tonight. He had a huge offensive rebound and putback late in the game, and then crashed the glass again, got fouled, and hit two clutch free throws, the two biggest free throws of his career thus far, and was able to force overtime at 95. And then Delano Banton, out of nowhere, checks in overtime, quickly scores a couple of buckets on a sweet finger roll, hit a couple of free throws, put the icing on the cake at the end of the game. 8 of his 10 coming in overtime. And Delano Banton once again showcasing his abilities. Elsewhere, Ashton Hagans had his best game as a Trailblazer. 13 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds. And this is all from a team that did not have Jeremy Grant in the second half because of a right quad situation. So just go up and down the line, and you can pick out a Trailblazer that made a difference tonight. 12 points, 6 rebounds from Duop Reef, who got the start in place of DeAndre Ayton. Tamani Kamara tonight, 3 of 4 from downtown, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 of 10 from the floor. He was a monster. And then just everyone making a contribution. I love it. Delano Banton was big. Ashton Hagans was big. Jabari Walker was an animal. Anthony Simons scored 30. 15 from Kamara, 12 and 6 from Duop Reef. It's like, goodness, everyone. Love it. Those are the type of games you want to see right there. Everyone stepping up to make a contribution. 18 points, 12 rebounds for Jabari Walker. I'm a big fan of his. He worked his tail off during the course of the offseason, made dramatic improvements in his game from year 1 to year 2. He does what the coaches ask him to do. He works his tail off, and he's got instincts as a rebounder that are very rare. And he showcased that tonight. And after the game, Brooke Olzendam caught up with him on the floor.
Wow, Bauer, you guys were down 18 at one point, got it to overtime, got it done. What went into this?
Started with Malcolm. Malcolm, he was down, I think it was 18. We came out of timeout. He said, y'all play hard. Y'all play together. He said, y'all come back and win this. So I told him at the last timeout, I was like, you called it first. Because the way he said it with passion. We knew it was realistic. So I'm going to say it started with Malcolm.
And Malcolm, you guys have said he's almost another assistant on the floor, so that kind of makes sense to me.
Say it again?
Malcolm's somewhat of an assistant coach for you guys.
Oh, yeah. He's a big vocal leader, instills confidence in all the young guys. So without him, we couldn't have done it today.
Well, obviously he inspired you, but guys on the floor, how did you guys get it done?
Just picking up what we did yesterday. Energy. We knew that they wanted to get their lick back, but we knew we didn't have to change anything. If we just play solid and play like we did yesterday, we're a good team.
Obviously, you hit those 2 free throws to get to overtime. Then you took that charge. How did it feel to be such a huge contributor to this win?
It felt great. I think those are the biggest free throws I've shot in my career. So it's like something you dream about as a kid when you're in bed shooting the ball up in the sky, and when you're out on the driveway shooting the ball like it's the last second. So that was the thought when I got at the free throw line. I was like, man, just like when I was a kid. So it's crazy how it comes back full circle.
That's awesome. The first time you've had back-to-back double-doubles. How much fun are you having? And for the rest of the season, is this how you want to play?
Yeah, usually you mentioned it, fun. Whenever I have fun playing basketball and, I'm smiling and I'm playing with passion, that's my best basketball. If I could just get to that consistently, I'm a great player, I feel like.
You're definitely a great player. Nice job tonight.
Thank you.
All right, the Trailblazers get the win. There's Jabari Walker, 18 points and 12 rebounds tonight for him. 8 of 16 from the floor. Really like him and what he brings to the table. And he led the Blazers in plus-minus, plus 21 tonight when he was on the floor. The guy's just a difference maker. Some guys, and it's rare. There aren't too many guys like this, but he's one of those few guys I've seen throughout my time watching basketball, who understands the geometry. He knows where the ball is going to go. He knows how to get to the ball. He can high point it, locate it, and is really good on the offensive glass. Just a smart basketball player who knows what the coaches want him to do. And I've said this before, but man, there are so many guys who have played in the NBA. And I've been watching the NBA now for like 40 years. But there are so many guys who they have a particular skill set that they're really good at, but they're worried about all the other things, like getting their touches, showcasing their offensive talents. They don't understand what they do best and how they can help their team win. And as a result, they try and do all these other things. And they play their way out of the league. But Jabari Walker understands that his best asset is rebounding and bringing that energy and toughness to the floor. And so he makes that the center point of his game. And when he goes out there on the floor, he can impact it in a positive way. The Blazers, once again tonight, strong on the offensive glass. They had 16 last night, 13 tonight. And Walker was a big part of that. And there were many points throughout the course of this game where you're like, they're not going to win this game. They're not going to get it done. But they kept grinding, and their defense led the way. Last night, their defense was great from start to finish. Tonight, the first half defense was brutal. Even into the third quarter, not good. But they tightened it up and really got after it defensively in the fourth quarter and got the job done. And late in the game, we saw a couple of situations where the Blazers were down 5. And I think it was about 4:43 to play. Vince Williams Jr. was called for a flagrant one when he elbowed Tamani Kamara in the chin. 2 shots in possession. Kamara made one of the 2, and then Jabari Walker turned it over out of bounds. But the Blazers' defense, they kept grinding. They forced a turnover on Williams. Jabari was able to grab a Hagan miss and then, get the deficit to 2 at 95-93. And then Portland got a stop defensively. Walker once again grabbed a Hagan's miss and got fouled and sank a couple of free throws to tie the game at 95 with 1.3 to play. They got a defensive stop, and I think there was .5 on the clock, and they tried to throw a lob to Tamani Kamara. He got held, but they didn't call it. And to overtime we went, and it was Delano Banton who came in. Game was tied at 87, immediately hit a finger roll, hit a pair of free throws. It was that easy. Jabari got a score at the rim, and before you know it, it's a 6-point game at 103-97, and Portland got the victory. That was a big-time win tonight, and I love it because it's the young guys who were making the contributions, the young guys who were making the big plays down the stretch. And Anthony Simons able to provide the offense in that fourth quarter when the team needed it to help them get in a position to tie the game and get to overtime. All right, fifth quarter Chad doing here on a Saturday night. Unexpected overtime victory for the Portland Trail Blazers. We'll come back with your shot of the night, and then I'll give you a little recap on how things went down, and we'll give you a scoreboard report and let you know everything that went down across the association. 107-100, the final. Blazers get the win in overtime. You get the fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Goodwin will get it in from the front court with 11.5 remaining. The Blazers in front 105-100. Goodwin gets it into the corner. Here's a step back three from Jackson. It's long, loose ball. It's Chris Murray with the rebound, races into the front court, slows it down, 3 seconds left, gives it to Banton. Banton ducks it in at the horn. It's a Rip City winner. 107-100 the final score. They're going to take a look at it to see if that two counted. It doesn't matter. The Trailblazers a winner, 107-100, as they take down the Grizzlies down 18 with just over 9 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. They come all the way back, force overtime with two huge Jabari Walker free throws with 1.3 seconds remaining. And in the overtime, they run away with this one, and they beat the Grizzlies. This one, Michael, this one showed some guts.
All right, checking the NBA scoreboard on this Saturday. In Phoenix right now, the Rockets lead the Suns 113-104 with 2:39 to play. Finals from earlier today in Brooklyn, the Nets topped the Hawks 114-102. Mikal Bridges had 38 points. In Miami, the Heat 126, the Jazz 120. Jimmy Butler 37 points and 7 assists. A final in Los Angeles, the Nuggets over the Lakers 124-114. Big night for Nikola Jokic, who scored 35 points, pulled down 10 rebounds, and had 7 assists. And LeBron James with 26 points, 9 assists, and 3 steals. All right, the Blazers get the win tonight, and what a victory it was. The game, like I said, it looked like a Memphis victory pretty much throughout until the Blazers made that strong push in the fourth quarter. And just like we saw last night, the Blazers got off to a quick start. They built a 16-10 lead with 4:21 to play in the first after a pair of Jeremy Grant free throws. Portland would go on to lead the game 25-20 at the end of the first quarter. The Blazers shot just 37% in the first, but they scored 6 points off of 6 Grizzlies turnovers. Grant, Anthony Simons, and DeWatt Reef each scored 5 in that opening quarter. The Blazers led 35-32 with 8:22 left in the half following a Jabari Walker bucket, but the Grizzlies started to make their move. A Memphis 12-3 run put them on top 44-38 with 3:12 left in the half, and they would go on to hold a 51-47 advantage heading into the locker room. Memphis got the offense going in the second quarter with 31 points on 52% shooting. G.G. Jackson dropped 10 in the period. Portland committed 11 turnovers in that second quarter, leading to 8 points for Memphis. Simons led Portland with 10 in the first half. Walker had 8. Vince Williams Jr. led all scorers with 15. Then Memphis started to crank things up with the intensity in the third. They scored the first 8 points in the third quarter in the opening 2.5 minutes, taking a 59-47 lead. The Grizzlies extended their lead to 17 with an 11-6 run, and they pushed their lead to 78-61 entering the fourth quarter. The Grizzlies outscored the Blazers 27-14 in the third, holding Portland to just 26% shooting and only 2 of 10 from downtown. And the Blazers committed 6 more turnovers in the third, leading to 10 more points for Memphis. And at that point, it's like, yay. Where's the offense? So sloppy, and they just looked like they were dead in the water. Memphis was in control of the game at 87-73 with 7:34 to play, but the Blazers ripped off 9 straight points to cut the deficit to 5 at 87-82, following an Ashton Hagens 3. So Portland down 5 with 4:43 to play. With the Trailblazers trailing by 5 with 1 minute to play, Vince Williams Jr. was called for a flagrant 1 for elbowing Tamani Kamara right in the chin. They got 2 shots and the possession. Kamara made 1 of 2, and then Jabari Walker stepped out of bounds, turning it over. And after a Williams turnover, Jabari Walker grabbed a Hagens miss and cut the deficit to 2 at 95-93. Portland got a stop, and then Walker once again grabbed a Hagens miss, got fouled, and sank 2 free throws to tie the game at 95 with 1.3 to play. To overtime we go, and the Blazers outscored the Grizzlies 34-17 in the fourth. Now, with the game tied at 97 in overtime, Delano Banton scored on a finger roll, hit a pair of free throws, And Jabari Walker scored at the rim to give Portland a 6-point lead at 103-97. And then Banton put the game away with the bucket to put the Blazers up 5 with 11.5 to play. And the Blazers go on to get the win. And what a game it was for the Blazers tonight. Like I mentioned before, with player development being the number one priority right now for Portland, it's pretty obvious that you want to see the young guys get a chance to play and capitalize on the opportunity. And that's exactly what happened tonight. Jabari Walker has just been, really tough throughout the course of the year. But last night, 19 and 10. Tonight, 18 and 12. His instincts and his play late were critical. I mean, big buckets in the fourth quarter and in overtime, not to mention the 2 free throws that he made to even the game at 95 and force overtime. But his development and play has been terrific for the Trailblazers this year. And like I said, I don't know what he is in the NBA in the future, if he's a starter or if he's a role player, but I know one thing, he belongs. He belongs in the NBA because he's got great instincts as a rebounder. He's an unselfish guy and can play it in so many different ways, but he brings toughness, he brings some length and great instincts rebounding-wise, and what he's learning to do that we've seen throughout the years, how to use his body because he's strong. How to get position, how to use his body, and he can be productive. Now, for the other guys like Delano Banton, I mean, he was huge in the overtime, 8 of his 10 points in overtime, and he really kind of pushed them over the top there in that overtime period. It may not be here in Portland, but Banton is, showing that the guy belongs on some roster in the NBA. So whether it's here or somewhere else, I mean, the guy's, he's got length, he's got toughness, and he didn't hesitate at all in going to work there in that overtime period. And even for Ashton Hagans tonight, I mean, he was put in a tough spot when he came over. He signed the 2-way deal, 13 points, 8 boards, 13 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds. I mean, those guys right there are showcasing either for Portland or somewhere else what they can do. So props to them. Love seeing it. It's a lot of fun. Chris Murray tonight struggled again from the floor. I was hoping to see him hit more shots. He was just 1 of 6 and scored 2 points. But he did pull down 5 rebounds and dish out 2 assists. Dewap Reef, once again, broke out of a shooting slump last night. Scored 12 points, had 6 rebounds. He was 5 of 9 from the floor. And just an all-around tough effort tonight from Tamani Kamara. 15.7 rebounds on 5 of 10 shooting. All in all, a very good effort from the Trailblazers. They finished tonight 42% from the floor. They had 23 turnovers, 18 of those, 18 points off 23 turnovers for the Grizzlies. They were able to convert. But again, it was late in the game where the Blazers tightened things up. 23 turnovers on the night, but they just had 4 of those in the fourth quarter and in the overtime period. And the Blazers tonight, second chance points, 15-4 edge. They had 13 offensive rebounds, and they did a good job rebounding-wise, able to control the tempo. Fast break edge to the Grizzlies, 16-13, but a lot of that was because of the turnovers. But the Blazers tonight, they coughed it up and didn't protect the basketball, but they did create 24 turnovers of their own, cashing that into 24 points. So all in all, a good all-around effort for the Blazers tonight, who came alive late in the game, outscored the Grizzlies 34-17 in the fourth, force overtime, and get the victory. It's fun. That's good. That's what you want. You take advantage of the opportunities that are on the schedule, and the Blazers get back-to-back games against Memphis. And with this crew, again, keep in mind, no DeAndre Ayton, no Scoot, no Malcolm Brogdon. Jeremy Grant left the game at halftime with that, quad issue, and the Blazers go out there and scratch it out. The Portland, what are they, 17-42? I mean, it's ugly, and it's been a tough year with the losses piling up. But the reality is, if, Robert Williams were healthy, if Scoot were available, if Malcolm Brogdon were available, if all the guys were healthy, this team wouldn't be a 17-win team. They'd be much better. So it's just nice to see them shorthanded go in there and scratch out back-to-back road wins. And now they'll continue it on Monday. They'll be in Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. Game day at 2:30, tip-off at 5. We'll come back and we'll step into the coach's corner. We got to hear from Chauncey Billups. I would imagine he's pretty happy after the victory tonight. They scratched their way back in it, outscored the Grizzlies by 17 in the fourth, and handled business in overtime. All right, fifth quarter, Chad doing with you here in your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Chris Burkhart.
All right, Blazers get a sweet come-from-behind victory tonight in Memphis. Anthony Simon scored 20 of his game-high 30 in fourth quarter and in overtime. The Blazers outscored Memphis 34-17 in the fourth, and multiple guys stepped up to make game-winning plays, and Portland gets it 107-100, and they make it back-to-back wins on back-to-back nights at FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. Let's check in with Blazers coach Chauncey Billups after the victory.
I thought we responded okay, but we could never get over the hump. And then you come out after halftime, and I didn't think we played well at all in that first half, and you're still only down 4. And we left a lot out there. And then, man, we scored 14 points, you know. And I thought we stopped sharing the ball in that third quarter, you know. So we got back to it. So let's just, start it forward. Let's try to cut it to single digits, man. Let's cut it to single digits, and we'll regroup. And we did that. And man, Brooke, so many guys played so well. I mean, Ashton, I've been so proud of him. You know, he's just a warrior. He really is. He's out there. He lays it on the line every single night, every play that he can. Jabari obviously gave us great minutes. I thought Ant's performance was high level. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at him, denying him full, boxing one. They did everything they could. He stayed patient. You know, he trusted his teammates. I just thought it was a great performance by him. And then I was proud of Delano. You know, got in foul trouble. We really needed him tonight, but we could never really get him for long spells. And I just felt like in overtime, Ashton did all he could, but the way they were playing, and we need another scorer out there. And made the change, and he comes in right away, scores, boom, he made some big plays for us.
And then, Tumani doing Tumani things, drawing that foul, and then part of the out of bounds, when Memphis threw it out of bounds, just doing the things that he does that you won't really see on the stat sheet.
Two is he's just a winner. Yeah. He's just a winner. He's going to do all the winning things, things that don't really show up on this stat sheet. But, for him out there, 15-7, and he's just an irritant out there. He gets under people's skin. Did a really good job of pressuring the ball and the deflections, and comes up with 2 really, really big plays. That flagrant that, we ended up only getting 1 free throw and they got 4. I said something don't feel right about this. But the rules are the rules. But we still hung in there. We just hung in there, and I loved it. Good. Whatever.
Jabari, I just spoke with him on the walk-off, and he said those are the most important free throws of his life. He said the ball back-to-back
Yeah.
How much fun is it to watch him play and you can see the confidence?
He's just growing, man. Bar's just growing, and he's the kind of player that, whatever you ask him to do, he's going to do it. He's going to do it as hard as he can. And it's fun to see him have some success there, and obviously we trust and believe in him. So when it was him on the line, I felt great, so I feel really good. He's going to make both of these, he works his butt off. He's in the gym all the time working on that, so I expect him to succeed, and that's exactly what he's doing.
All right, there's Chauncey Billups. As you can tell, he's very pleased with his young guys for stepping up and playing the way that they did. Ashton Hagans, who, keep in mind, he came over, right there at the deadline and was thrust into action in that game against Detroit without knowing any of the sets or the offense or his teammates. He had just arrived in town, and he's had to grind. Delano Banton the same way. He came over at the deadline, and those two guys have worked hard, and made the most of the opportunities they've gotten. Just proud of the group tonight. That was a team effort, a team win, and multiple guys got the job done. And again, they were severely shorthanded. No Scoot, no Brogdon, no DeAndre Ayton, and Jeremy Grant exited the game at halftime with a quad issue. And yet they find a way to rise up and get it done. And props to Anthony Simons, who did not shoot the ball particularly well last night. He provided the offense tonight. 7 points last night, had a game-high 30 tonight, and scored 20 of those 30 in the fourth quarter and overtime. He was the steady option on offense, but it was the other guys who stepped up and got the job done. And, Hagans has been playing a lot of big minutes late in games. He was out there on the floor trying to close it out against Miami a couple of nights ago. That was impressive. And this is what you want to see from this group the rest of the way. I don't expect perfection, but seeing them compete, it's nice to see them shake off, 3 poor quarters and come out there and continue to fight and not give up and fight back and get the win. I like seeing the guys, scratch defensively. They forced 24 turnovers tonight. And rebounding-wise, doing a good job of crashing and, making, their hay on the offensive glass. So, take your pick. That was good. Good effort, good performance. Not a great performance, but it was good, and they did enough late to get the job done. But the guys that you think about, the big plays from Hagans, the clutch play from Jabari Walker late in the fourth, including the 2 free throws, and then Banton just coming alive in that overtime period with 8 points to help seal the game for the Portland Trail Blazers. That was fun. That's good. That's what you want to see. All right, we'll come back. It's time for What's the Scoot? Blazers get the win in overtime, 107-100. They get back-to-back wins on back-to-back nights at FedEx Forum in Memphis, and they're going to finish out the 3-game road trip Monday in Minnesota against the Timberwolves. What's the Scoot's coming up next on the 5th quarter? I still can't believe that Delano Banton scored 8 of the Trailblazers' final 10 points in overtime to help secure the victory for Portland as they get the job done 107-100. For Scoot Henderson, I had someone reach out to me tonight during the game and ask when we'll see him again. I don't expect him to play on Monday against Minnesota, but I do expect him back in the lineup on Wednesday when the Blazers come home to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder and kick off a 6-game homestand. So I think Scoot Henderson will be back in the lineup at that time, and that's going to be good because the Blazers will have 22 games to go. As we mentioned before, the player development is the most important thing, and they need their youngsters out there on the floor. So Scoot Henderson hopefully can remain healthy over the final stretch, 22 games to get out there and do what he does. And hopefully he can continue this recent stretch of good basketball that we saw before the All-Star break and finish the season on a high note. And then enter the offseason. He's got his rookie season finished. He can work on his game, put in the time, and then be ready to go come camp time. And then what I want to see is the same type of jump from year 1 to year 2 like we see him with Jabari. And that he can continue to emerge and become a big-time player. So it's critical. And in regards to Shaedon Sharpe, the plan, if everything comes together, is to get him back on the floor sometime in the final 10 games so he can get out on the floor and get a chance to play. And I would say for me, that's probably, if I had to rank the priorities, Scoot getting back on the floor as soon as possible, getting a chance to play and develop and get big minutes down the stretch. Hopefully we'll see Shaedon Sharpe back on the floor before the end of the season, and then DeAndre Ayton back out on the floor as soon as possible after suffering the hand sprain, and just continue the same type of dominant play we've seen in the previous 13 games before the hand injury so that he can also finish the season on a high note. Those are kind of things I care about the most right now. But the Blazers will finish out the road trip, the 3-gamer, and they'll do so Monday in Minnesota against the Timberwolves. After that, they come home for a 6-game homestand, and they've got one more extended 7-game road trip before the end of the season. So that's what we're looking at right now. So a big win tonight and a quality victory for the Blazers who, nothing came easy. Nothing came easy. Let's go out to Jake in Beaverton. Jake, appreciate the phone call. You're up on the 5th quarter. What's your takeaway from the game tonight?
Unbelievable pass, by the way. He actually put it through his legs and then cast it into the center for the dunk. Excellent.
What else? What else jumped out at you in the victory tonight?
Actually, I really enjoyed that the most. It was just hard-hitting, really important. I enjoyed that.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Jake. I hope you have a wonderful evening. There's Jake in Beaverton. 107-100 is your final. All right, that's going to do it for us. Our next broadcast will come up on Monday. I'll be back in here for game day at 2:30 with the tip-off against the Minnesota Timberwolves at 5, right here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. Your final score tonight from FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. The Trailblazers top the Grizzlies 107-100. For Michael Shacker, I'm Chad Doing. Show me your Blazer. Have a good night.